Hi, good afternoon. What we are going to see is how meetings are normally conducted in most organizations and how we can really transform this for the benefit of the organization and for everybody who is involved. So, this topic is called fields of conversation. Why do we call it field of conversation? See, we're all familiar with many fields, energy fields like electric field, magnetic field, electromagnetic field, and the field of attraction, gravitational field, and all. So, if you look at gravitational field, it attracts all the objects, including human beings, in a particular direction. So, it has an influence in the entire area in which the field exists. Similarly, in electric field, it affects the electric and magnetic objects in that. Similarly, a field of conversation, we call it a field because there is some group dynamics coming into picture when there are multiple people involved in a conversation. It could be in a family, or it could be in an NGO, or it could be in a company, or any big organizations. And this dynamics is like a field because it kind of has a very powerful influence on everybody participating in that conversation. So, in a way, all of them behave similarly. And the most common type of conversation is what we call talk nice. And you would have been very familiar with this in your school days or college days when the professor says, even if you think it is wrong, you won't say anything. You'll say, yes, sir, or you just keep quiet. And this very much happens in a family when the head of the household talks something powerfully and then others are just keeping quiet. So either people are quiet or they say what the other person they think wants to hear. So you're not expressing your opinion freely, but you are more interested in surviving the conversation, in passing the expectation of the person whom you think are important. So all you hear is just empty phrases. There is nothing useful, like Trump's cabinet, for example. Yes sir, you are great, wonderful, yes, we will do it, this is the best thing we have ever heard, and all that. And people are frustrated because you cannot use your brain to really say what you want to say. So if all of us have experienced this kind of meetings, and it leaves us really frustrated, and given a choice, we won't even attend some meetings. But most times there is no choice and people just survive the meeting, and it leaves people frustrated. And there is a very big cost for the organization because the most important issues are not discussed. There is no atmosphere, there is no field to support that. And over a period of time, if you have never thought about it, never contributed, never actively participated with actively using your brain, you even stop thinking, because when it is not encouraged, over a period of time, you even stop thinking seriously. So it has an impact on the people's even capacity to think deeply. And what about the bosses? Every time they hear is great, wonderful, and they think that whatever they say is great. So they also don't need to think deeply. Oh, it looks like whatever I say is great. Everybody agrees. And if something goes wrong, they realize much later because nobody has pointed out. So this is like a poison of organizations. And it's a total waste of time, because nobody is really contributing to the discussion. Nobody is bringing the important issues to the table, and so it's nothing gets done. But this is the most popular thing that you would have seen in most organizations. Then there is another type of conversation, field of conversation, which we call debate or talking tough. You would have typically seen in TV debates when there are multiple politicians talking from different parties. There, they are not bothered about what the other person wants to hear. They are not even bothered what is their other person's opinion. Everybody is interested in pushing their point of view. I am right. What I think is right, you better hear, and this is what is important. And this is done by everyone, so nobody is listening. Everybody is interested in pushing their point of view. So there are sometimes you see multiple people are even talking. Because only if you are really interested in listening to others, a person will stop when other person is talking and will carefully listen. But here, the interest is to prove that my point of view is correct. Their point of view is correct. People operate as if they are their point of view. If someone opposes their point of view, it is as if they are opposing them. It's a threat to them. So it's like a war-like situation. When people's opinions are questioned, they are upset. Even if somebody wins in a war, people say that nobody wins in a war. Even if somebody wins, the relationship is permanently damaged. So there is no great relationship building up. There is no, empowering conversations. Nobody is listening. People are talking. So that way it is better than the, talk nice culture, but nobody is listening. Nobody even comes with an interest to listen. They want to prove that they are right and the other person is wrong. So now it's very clear that both talk nice and talk tough culture, which are the only things we are mostly aware of, what we have seen in the world, both are unproductive fields of conversations. Nothing gets created. In a way, I would say it's even a waste of time conducting meetings this way. Then is at all something possible? Can we create a new field of conversation? Can we have it where people really participate? Yes. And that field of conversation is called a dialogue or a reflective inquiry. Here this has to be consciously created. It does not happen by default or automatically. We need to train the people. But once those field is created by training people, then people come to the meeting and they are coming not as individuals, but they realize that they are part of the whole. Everybody thinks they are part of the organization. And they not only tell their views, they are also ready to keenly listen to the other people. So they ask questions if something is not clear. Somebody else's opinion may be completely contradicting. If it is a debate, they will kill them and say that, they are interested only in proving them wrong. But in a dialogue culture, they are ready to listen and they are really ready to learn. Why are you having an opinion which is completely distinct from me? What is the thinking process behind? Are there some facts and figures behind it because of which you are thinking? What is the foundation on which your thinking and opinion is based on? They ask real, meaningful questions only with the view of actually getting the view of the other person. So they are no longer with the operating as I am my opinion. They are clear that I have an opinion. And everybody has an opinion. And every opinion is valid. And they are willing to listen. So everybody has an opportunity to speak what they think, what are the issues. And everybody is also heard. They are clear that people are listening to them and their opinions matter. So there is an atmosphere of, listening There is an atmosphere of relationship. People feel that they all belong to the same organization and they have the same purpose. And people are left happy that they are both, they could express their opinion as well as they were listened to. So this is a very desirable field of conversation that every organization should put efforts to move their meetings towards. But there is another fourth field of conversation which we call as generative flow, or you can call it generative dialogue, where co-creation takes place. Here again, people are expressing their views and they're also listening, but they're no longer committed to their own views. Everybody is interested in what is most desirable for the organization or for the purpose for which they are having the meeting. So they are actually looking for something to arise as a consequence of this collective thinking. Multiple hearts and the multiple brains are involved in the conversation. People bring high levels of attention and intention. And people build on each other's opinion. So we call this co-creation. And in this process of continuously listening to each other and validating it, looking at others' viewpoint from their point of view, and building on positive aspects of others' views, at some point, something new emerges which makes everybody happy and fulfilled. People are inspired that this was created in the meeting, and they are clear that it's not an individual creation, it is a collective creation. So this generative flow is basically a co-creation or a collective creation. And the main important thing in a generative flow is when people leave the meeting, they are a different person. The person who entered the meeting is not the same person who is leaving the meeting. The energy levels are better, they are inspired, and they are clear that something new is getting created for the organization, for the purpose for which they are all up to. So generative flow is something that every organization should actively look forward to training every person involved in the organization, and it will create extraordinary relationship, extraordinary results, and ultimately it will form the foundation for an extraordinary organization. Thank you so much.